Hi, welcome to Gotta Ping, a careers podcast you should listen to if you want to grow your career online and offline. Hi, my name is Mei Ping, and I'm a professional career coach and international speaker with more than a decade of experience at some of the biggest companies in the world. To learn more about what I do, visit meiping.com. That's meiping.com. All right, let's jump right into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of my Grow Your Career Online and Offline podcast. So we're ending the last couple of days talking about the 30-day client success story series, where I shared multiple career transformations of my clients, either in the job search space or growing their career in the corporate world. So today I actually want to share with you the importance of committing to a career strategy, committing to a job search strategy, and really the importance of committing to a LinkedIn strategy. So if you're one of those people who have been trying out multiple tips, multiple methods, multiple strategies, but you can't seem to decide or rather commit to which one works better for you, then you want to make sure that you listen on. All right, so let me share with you a story of one of my clients who actually made these similar mistakes as well, where he consistently changed strategies and eventually not being able to see any results. Because there's one thing that people don't realize: when you keep changing something, when you keep not being committed and keep changing your approach, what happens then is that you're actually not giving any strategy time to generate results. Because nowadays I find that people want results like by the snap of the finger, right? Immediately they want results, but you need to understand that a career is a bit like a marathon. There are multiple processes involved in job search, whether you're doing like your job search online with traditional methods or you're actually utilizing LinkedIn as well. So for this particular client, actually, he also fell into this trap. So when we first worked together, we did 3 sessions. So the first session, we talked a bit about career clarity, because at that time he actually had very low confidence because he was pursuing a master's, studying a part-time, working in a part-time job, but he couldn't get along with a lot of his colleagues. So he was really thinking about, okay, what are the options that are available in his career, and of course some of the career troubles that he is facing, to make sure that it doesn't happen in his new role after he has completed his master's. So that was just one part. And we also had another session where I reviewed his LinkedIn profile in detail. So in that session itself, I not just helped him with the LinkedIn settings and to really maximize the algorithm, I also took a little bit of time to also critique on helping him position himself in the LinkedIn work experience section. So for this part, I no longer do it in the LinkedIn one-on-one session nowadays. Nowadays, I normally do it in a resume review session before we go into LinkedIn profile. But this was some time ago last year. So in the LinkedIn one-on-one coaching session, I helped him both to reposition his value as well as also work around the algorithms part as well as the job search strategy. So actually for these 2 sessions, like, he was fine, very motivated, very enthusiastic, wanting to actually give it his full try. But one thing that he did not anticipate, or maybe he got a little bit distracted, was actually about implementing the LinkedIn strategy consistently. So let me share with you some of the mistakes that he made that you just need to make sure that you're not making these similar mistakes as well. So for example, he would apply for 3 jobs and assume that he would get the call back. So this is actually a really bad assumption to have, because job market is always competitive. So if you're just going to apply for 3 roles and put all your eggs in that basket, then you really need to think twice as to whether that is a good strategy or not. Secondly, he also had some, I guess, negativity or biases against recruiters. So what happened was, I think he was expecting a very quick reply by the recruiters, and once the recruiters don't reply him, he automatically blocked them off LinkedIn, which again is actually a really, really bad idea to start blocking all these recruiters, because even if they don't have a job for you right now, they might have a role for you in the future. And the third mistake he actually made was he got caught up in the whole I need to create content on LinkedIn advice that are given by a lot of social media marketers out there. And then he started creating content, which in and on its own is not a bad thing, but I think it's the way that he approached it was a bad thing. So after some time, he was actually a lot more focused on the views, the likes, rather than actually connecting with the right people, actually getting himself visible in front of the right eyeballs that can help him get that role that he actually wants. Then, because he started creating content, he started having a lot of negative biases for people who are not liking his content, who are not following his content, and prefer to engage with the people who are liking his content, which, like I said, again, on its own, is not a bad thing. It's just that the people who can give you a job may not necessarily be the same people who will like your content. So that was something that he did not realize. Then, because he did spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, the fourth mistake he made was that he started looking at like different advice out there on LinkedIn without recognizing, what is the background of all these people giving him advice. Because if he wants a corporate job, and that is very clear by taking his master's, he wanted a corporate job, but the advice that he was implementing with regards to content and like what he was doing and so forth were things that were told to him by like personal branding gurus, all these, marketing folks or social media folks who never really worked a corporate job before. So he was actually getting very confused eventually. But anyway, that was basically a long list of like mistakes that he was making. And how did I know about all these mistakes, right? What happened was about 4 months after we worked on the initial session, about 4 months, he booked another session with me. So he told me that he's putting in a lot of effort, but somehow he feels like he's not really making a lot of progress. So I was initially quite surprised, because I say that like 99% of the clients who apply my LinkedIn strategy all manage to get a job like within 3 months. That is already the latest within 3 months. And I was really surprised to hear from him that he felt that he wasn't making that much progress. So I went through his profile again and then asked him what he was doing for his job search strategies. And what I noticed was he actually reverted to that original version before working with me. So when I asked him, I was like, oh, okay, like, why did you change some of these things? Like, what is your logic behind making some of these changes? And then he said, oh, I was on LinkedIn, and then that person said, I need to do this and that. Oh, then that was when I learned that, okay, he has been taking advice from multiple people. He got very confused, and he always felt that, oh, maybe something else is better. Maybe that one is better, that one's better. So one thing that I also asked him is that, is there any point that, you want to work with me as a coach if, let's say, you cannot really commit to a certain decision, like you don't give the strategy some time to generate results, but you have already changed it and you keep changing something every 1 to 2 weeks. So if you're in this situation, let me tell you right now, you will not see any results, because good things take time. And if you expect like magic to happen in 1 week, I can tell you that it does not, because the actual hiring and recruitment process takes longer than that. And I can tell you this because I used to be a former hiring manager. So it definitely takes longer than that. And if you're changing your strategy every 1 2 weeks because some guru on the internet, on LinkedIn is telling you that it's the correct thing to do, I actually want you to think twice. So anyway, back to this client. In the third session that he booked, like after 4 or 5 months from the first 2 sessions, the biggest takeaway for him was, oh, I need to go back to the original, the workable strategy, and actually be patient. So I think being patient was definitely one of the key takeaways, and you don't see that a lot in younger professionals nowadays, but actually being patient is very important, particularly if you are applying the right strategy. So that was what he did. After he walked away from the session, he decided that he's just going to go full out and actually give it at least 3 months to see fruition. So I'm also happy to announce that after he fully committed to my LinkedIn strategy, which I know 99.9% works, unless you're not doing the right thing that I told you, I'm happy to announce that he actually managed to land a role. And what he was looking for was also quite niche as well. He was in the energy renewal, sustainable energy part. So he managed to get a role. Initially, it was a part-time role, but eventually he was also promoted to a full-time position. And right now he has actually landed a full-time job as well. So the point I want to share in this episode, in this client success story is success takes time. Good things take time. And if you expect magic to happen overnight, magic to happen like in a few days, you expect magic to happen just because you only applied for three jobs, the companies all must come back with 3 interviews. I think you really need to expand your job search strategy. You really need to expand your networking and really your career planning a little bit, and not be blinded by blind positivity that you see a lot online. And particularly, the other thing I also want to remind everybody is actually commit to something. This is actually an issue I see in a lot of younger professionals where they can't seem to commit to anything. So if you keep jumping around, you keep moving around, you're not committing to anything, it's not just going to reflect in your job search, it will reflect your entire career. Because a person who cannot commit to anything will never rise up the corporate ladder. You will never be trusted in big projects because, hey, these things take time. And if you want magic to happen overnight, then, probably excelling and doing well in the corporate world might not really be the thing for you. So, so I'll end this episode with just a really, really big kudos to this particular client for actually being able to get aware of the mistakes that he was making, I think particularly from a mindset standpoint, and really able to correct himself and really start committing to a strategy. And with that, he actually got to see results and managed to land a full-time role as a sustainable energy consultant, which was his dream, and really able to start growing his career in the corporate world. So with that, I hope that you enjoy this client success story. I also hope that you learn the lessons from this particular client, make sure that you don't repeat these mistakes, and you really take away the actionable mindset as well as actionable steps from this story also. So I hope this story inspires you, also empowers you to commit to a choice and commit to a decision and go all the way. So with that, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. For more awesome content like this, remember to like and subscribe. Also, head on over to my website, meiping.com, that's meiping.com, and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for more career growth and personal development tips. You can find the links in the description box below. Once again, you're listening to Gotta Ping, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!